Welcome to another episode of our podcast, Indiana is Ag+Bio+Science. It's presented by AgriNovus, Indiana, and Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gerry Dick, the host of Inside Indiana Business, also the host of this weekly podcast, where we have in-depth conversations with leaders, innovators, and entrepreneurs in Indiana's Ag+Bio+Science sector. It's the sector where food, ag, science, and technology all converge. Today, this week, excited to sit down with David Rowe. David is the Chief Technology Officer at Epogee here in Indianapolis. And David, welcome to the podcast.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Epogee, I think this is a fascinating story, a lot of moving parts to it we want to get into. But first of all, tell us a little bit about your background, how you got to your current role at Epogee. I know you have background at Dow AgroSciences, among others, but give us a little background.
I'm from Texas originally, but came to Indiana to join Lilly out of graduate school. So that's how we ended up here. The part of Lilly I worked for was the crop chemicals part, merged with Dow to form Dow Elanco, that became Dow AgroSciences. A lot of the know-how involved in what we're doing here actually was learned or developed at Dow AgroSciences. And one of the groups that I was working with or was responsible for was the group we called Healthy Oils. Mm-hmm. And so that provided a huge amount of insight in terms of the market, how you could build a healthier oil, what the enabling technology was. And then a significant number of the people in our team actually are people who I met through those Dow contacts. I mean, amazing scientists, amazing engineers, and it's really given us a huge kind of running start in terms of figuring all this out.
I think this is a fascinating story that people are really going to be interested in because of what the end result is. I'll just read from some text here. Epogee is the most effective, versatile, and safe way to sharply cut calories, but also preserve taste in a wide variety of foods. Is that an accurate?
It's absolutely accurate. We've got the amazing thing about it is how safe it is and how good it tastes. If you can't hit the taste mark, you got nothing. There are lots of ways to have things that you don't like that cut calories, but the incredible thing here is in things like mouthfeel, flavor delivery, having a nice long finish on something like ice cream or chocolate. Those things have proven very difficult or even impossible to do. One of the other benefits of Epogee is you can use it in food preparation that requires a lot of heat, baking or frying specifically. Most things that you could contemplate just break down and do not hold up. And we have extraordinary performance in those sorts of applications as well.
Tell us a little bit about the history of Epogee, because it began as, Choco Finesse? Was that the original?
Our company, Epogee, is less than 6 months old. We created it at the end of 2018 as a result of a very significant capital infusion from Heritage Ventures, which is part of the Heritage Group, which is based in Indianapolis. Before that, for the almost a decade, we're building this technology, growing it out, working through the regulatory process, figuring out how to do tough things like manufacturing it at efficient scale and low cost in the company called Choco Finesse. And Choco Finesse was based upon licensed technology that we had licensed from universities that had originally had it donated to them by companies who had just given up, just couldn't figure out how to get through all the technology roadblocks and the regulatory roadblocks to make it possible. So we're standing on fortunately we're standing on some very broad shoulders here. It's a little bit like the proverbial iceberg. Right? What you see is actually a small part of actually what all is underneath the water supporting it.
We were talking before we started our conversation. The first company to really market this is an Indiana company.
Is an Indiana company down in Evansville. It's called Health Smart Foods. They created a line called their Sweet Nothings chocolates. We're working with a large chocolate company, Blommer Chocolate in Chicago, and they're supplying the chocolate that Sweet Nothings does. So that's fun to have an Indiana connection in terms of actually first to market.
And you've also got, as I understand it, a huge launch coming up.
We are so excited. We're working with a European company who has developed an amazing line of ice creams that they actually debuted out at Food Expo in Anaheim, California earlier this spring. The taste is incredible. It really does make you think like you're eating one of those super premium ice creams that have 1,000 calories a pint, and their stuff, thanks to Epogee and some other things they're doing, have less than 250 calories. So we're super excited about that.
Wow. Food innovation, food tech, including new ingredients or products, really something we haven't talked much about in our podcast, so we're eager to learn more about really the importance of the segment on the Agbiosciences. Why is it seen as holding so much potential?
A lot of this has to do with dissatisfaction with the health outcomes associated with how the American diet has evolved and the need to essentially figure out a way to deliver the food that people like with fewer of the things that we shouldn't be doing. Too much fat, too many calories, too much sugar. And so the big opportunity here is to essentially figure out a way to have people have it all. Deliver the taste, deliver all the sensory attributes that we want, and then essentially less of the things that are essentially really undermining American health. And that's both the challenge and a huge opportunity as well.
How about consumer preferences, consumer attitudes toward food, ag, science, and technology? Do you think consumers are ready for more technology and innovation in their food products? All consumers would say, hey, we'd love to have all the taste with fewer calories, but what about that attitude about?
Gerry, it's an important question because the market's changing and it's evolving. Part of this is on generational lines. Millennials, for instance, are different from the people who came before them. It also has to do with education and geographic location. There's some. It's important to understand who your consumer is and essentially make sure you're tailoring a message and a product that meets those needs. And you don't want to essentially waste time and scarce money on things for people who are not receptive.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier the HG Ventures investment of $8 million. What does that mean for the company?
Gerry, it really gives us a runway. We've come so far. I'm so proud of our team and what we were able to do up till now. But this really gives us staying power and credibility. It gives us access to large volume manufacturing. It lets us tap into some of the technical capabilities that the Heritage Groups has here and in other parts of the country. So from a credibility, access, and essentially the ability to say, we're here, we're going to be able to deliver on what we're promising, and we've got this really powerful economic but also technical backstop for us that essentially gives us credibility in this process.
How about growing this idea, this company in Indiana? It seems to me that just in the last couple of years, the momentum and the support around the Agbiosciences with groups like AgriNovus, who are truly supportive and shining a light on innovation. What does that mean to companies like Epogee?
It's really exciting to see things come together. I think part of this is kind of a giant that's been hiding in plain sight, given all of the capabilities we have here, lots of smart people, strong institutional support. And I think it's kind of fun to you're around and no one sees you to all at once people saying, hey, we've got something special here. And under Beth and the whole AgriNovus initiative and really dynamic leadership to essentially say, hey, this is something, we're positioned to win in this area. So let's be smarter about it in terms of mobilizing what we have available, raise the visibility of it, and make sure from a private as well as from a government standpoint, we're doing all the things to sort of help to close the gap between the potential and the reality here.
Talk about as we wind up here, what's next for Epogee. I mean, you mentioned this huge launch with a European company this summer, but as you look, assuming things go as you would like them to go, what can we expect to see from Epogee?
We're adding resources here. We've created an office, which we've sort of been living in sort of startup mode for a long time, and over time we're looking at critical skills that we're going to acquire here and build on here. And I think the real thought is this is a great base to sort of build from all the reasons we've talked about. So we're excited. We're excited to be here, excited to have a lot of positive momentum and a lot of good news, and we're looking forward to more of it in the future.
It truly is a fascinating story and fascinating technology, and will be interesting and fun to watch things develop. David Rowe, the Chief Technology Officer at Epogee. David, thanks for stopping by, and good luck.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here today. Thanks so much.
We'll see you soon. And thank you for joining us on this latest edition of the Ag+Bio+Science podcast. It is a weekly production partnership between AgriNovus Indiana and Inside Indiana Business, and you can keep up to date with AgriNovus by following them on Twitter, also on Instagram at AgriNovusIN, and also find them on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm Gerry Dick. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
This podcast is a product of Inside Indiana Business, hosted by Gerry Dick, produced by Libby Fritz and Joe Ullery, and was recorded on location at Launch Fishers. More people get Indiana business news from Inside Indiana Business than any other source.